Oh no! Let's try that again. Hello! Welcome everyone! There's too many mute buttons. I've got like one on my mic and one on Discord and one in OBS. Too many mute buttons. Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Free Project Friday live with the team. Foundry Virtual Tabletop. A bunch of the team is here to just hang out and enjoy, participate in the anniversary week celebrations and hang out with you all and do our sort of usual Free Project Friday ritual, but do it potentially embarrassingly in front of a live audience. So thank you all for coming to witness our attempts and hopefully some successes as well. Free Project Friday is a fun activity we do as a team every month on the more or less last Friday of the month, sometimes, you know, a week later or a week earlier as scheduling dictates, but it's a chance once a month for us to work on some kind of project that's a little bit of like a passion project or a cool idea or just something whimsical or fun that like inspires us, that the only ground rules is that it needs to be related to Foundry VTT in some way. So it's pretty broad scope, and it gives us a chance to do some things that otherwise like we can't get the chance to prioritize because it just like it's too ambiguous or too much of a crazy idea or just like not something we'd thought of or planned to do. And so yeah, so FPF as we call it is a chance to kind of throw some of the normal prioritization rules out of the window and to do something do something fun. So I think we should start though with some introductions because I know that we're not always here on stream as a group, and so you know, faces, names, Discord handles, it's all a jumble. We could maybe go around the screen and perhaps we could each give a quick introduction. I would maybe encourage people to, let's say, who you are, what your role is, what kind of work you're normally working on, and maybe why don't you share, if you have one, like a FPF memory from the past of some project that you or someone else worked on in a past Free Project Friday that you recall with fondness or terror or shame or something else. So I'll subject myself to that humiliating ritual first and then inflict it on others. I'm Andrew. I'm the original creator of Foundry VTT. I do a little bit of lots of things, and you know, most recently I've been working very heavily on Ember and Crucible, but of course also the Cora software v13 release as well, not to mention the routine weekly pile of admin work that operating a business tends to require, which is sort of my least favorite part of the job. So I get that out of the way so I can do fun coding things as well. My FPF memory is so many. I think one, I mean, so many stand out to me. I think one that really does is Ludovic always does some crazy FPF projects. I think you did the Fog of War exploration texture as an FPF project, and that was a really cool idea. That was something that I was always like, what if we had this like cool parchment or like, you know, custom unexplored fog texture. That's something that's now in the core software. We're using it in Ember. We also used it in... Did we use that in PBSO or Kingmaker? No, we definitely used it in Kingmaker. Yeah. I think we've used that a couple places where there's like a region to explore. I don't know if we're going to be doing that with TOA or not. Matt, are we doing a unexplored texture for Chult? Put you on the spot.
We do have Yeah, we do have an unexplored texture. I actually finished setting it up in Photoshop yesterday. So
Nice.
this is perfect timing.
Nice. Yeah, that was something that came out of FPF, along with many other things that are now in the core software, but I'm just trying to think of one on the spur of the moment. All right, well, we can go around clockwise, starting from A, which would be Anathema, so you're next.
I'm Anathema, or Shane, or Nath if you are a frequenter of our community Discord. I'm the community manager for Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and a catastrophic failure when it comes to JavaScript. I will not be demoing anything related to a project today. I will look back in fondness at sometimes when I have really great ideas for Free Project Friday that never seem to work out. Fortunately, I am surrounded by very talented developers who occasionally weigh in and give me a hand. And I'll look back at a particular one I did with Cody when he was still on the team, where we called it Project Lumberjack. Because it was a logging system for Foundry VTT that logged all changes made in a game world in a absolutely horrendous way that was very unperformant, and it's a project I'd love to go back to one day because I think it's really useful for a GM to be able to go, okay, my player just moved just moved all of their inventory off of their character sheet onto a group sheet, and now they don't know what's theirs. So I need to be able to undo all of that. Or my other player has been leveling their character up in secret. Just the fun things that tend to happen in long-term games. I'd love to be able to go back to it and give GMs that kind of ability to undo changes quickly. But it's beyond the scope of my capabilities at this time.
Yeah, it's a fun project. Yeah. It's probably one that deserves being resurrected at some point. Well, thanks, Shane. Next up would be Cora.
Hello.
Over to you.
Hello everyone. I'm Vivian, or Cora. I'm a content developer, so technically I don't usually work with code-related things. I work on our Paizo premium content, so if you've ever used our beginner box or abomination bolts for Pathfinder 2nd edition, or some of our, we've made some token packs that are system agnostic. I work on those projects, but I do dabble a little bit in JavaScript and CSS, usually when it's necessary for those modules.
Hey Cora, sorry, can I get you to pull your mic just a little closer? I have you turned up as far as I can in Discord, and so I think...
How's this? Is that better?
I think that is better, yes.
All right. I work with as much code as is necessary for those modules, but it's obviously not the same as being one of the core devs. So for me, Free Project Friday is often a bit of a fun training exercise where I get to practice trying something a bit out of my comfort zone. Usually I get to, I think I get to use what I make on Free Project Friday more than other people do, because I can then just put it in the module if it's okay. But in terms of one of my favorite projects someone else has made, one that comes to mind that's it's not the flashiest, but Matt has a history of making like small things that just, as soon as you see them, you're like, it should always have worked this way, like UI improvements and things like that. And one of my favorites that he did, and I'm like 99% sure it was you, Matt, is when you're editing a journal, he added the ability so when you highlight a piece of text, if there's a journal page or a journal entry that has that text as its title, or I think it just works with anything like items and stuff too, it'll make it easy for you to make it into a link. So because I work on making, adventure modules and things, if I'm filling out a journal and I want to link to, +1 longsword, and I highlight it, and then I just click and it's a link to the +1 longsword, previously I had to go digging and find the +1 longsword and like drag it out. So that's like a Free Project Friday change that, you know, it seems like a small thing once it exists, but night and day. Living without it, I don't want to go back. So thank you really, Matt, for that one.
I can't believe I was in anybody's list. I thought it was going to be all Ludovic the whole way through.
No, your FPS are also very worthy, Matt.
That one is a solid one. Looking back,
That one also, I think, the assist or half credit should go to Kim for the word tree implementation in Foundry, because before that I was just looping through every item in the world / document, and then Kim told me that existed, and I suddenly got to delete like 100 lines of code, and it worked way faster and way better in general. So I'll share this one with Kim.
Awesome. Well, good segue over to Kim. Why don't you introduce yourself, give us a FPF memory of your own?
Sure, yeah. I'm Kim. I'm one of the core software developers for Foundry, and I'm also principally involved with development of the D&D 5e system implementation. If you tuned into the Tomb of Annihilation stream, you probably remember my intro from there.
Rest in peace.
Croaked. Well,
rest in
he's,
guts, I
maybe.
guess. Rest in question mark for
yeah.
Croak.
So he's like Schrodinger's kobold.
Yeah.
He's both dead and alive.
I believe that is the
Really
nature.
important.
That is the nature of every kobold in existence.
Yeah, I think you're right. So for FBF memory, I don't know. There are too many. How could we forget the white squares? So
Yeah.
I'll call out Eber's white squares, which did actually end up in the core software, although in a form that's not quite as clean and minimal and beautiful as the white squares. I remember FPF a long while ago where Cora as well showed us all of the languages that she'd learned. So like all of TypeScript and all of JavaScript, CSS and HTML. So like 4 languages in one FPF, which was really impressive.
And handlebars count separate from HTML as well.
That's the 5th one. Yeah, it's just no limit to how many.
I'm sure I had a line of jQuery in there just to get the count up.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
I don't think you can count that as
Yeah.
a language, though. I think that's a stretch.
So that was really fun. Yeah, I mean, the Ludovic's transitions one, when we saw that for the first time, that was crazy. I remember seeing Crucible for the first time in the talent tree. I think that was demoed in an FPF. Also, just so many.
Yeah,
so many,
good ones, good ones.
So many good ones.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Kim. Ludovic, you are up next.
Hello everyone. So my name's Krug. Ludovic. And I'm one of the core developer and specialized in all things visual and graphics, specifically the WebGL API. And thinking about FPF, yeah, I have many in mind. I remember when Kim was overhauling the D&D 5 sheet, he showed us into FPF, and yeah, I was amazed because CSS for me is not a language I do very well. And yeah, I remember I was very enthralled by what he showed us, and now it is the sheet we are knowing. What other? Yeah, one from Andrew. I remember that he showed us the doors, even. If I
Yeah, the
show-
doors. Yeah.
The doors was a cool one. Not a surprise, but it was really a cool FPF, and it made its path to core. And thank you to the Ember.
I think we have two. You know,
Also-
we sort of have a few different
Yeah.
projects that let us do kind of more radical experimentation. I mean, I think there's things that are sort of like a safer bet that we do. Of course, like the core software, we're very rigid about our roadmap and like what we've got to focus on. And then sometimes when we're doing like content conversions for like an official D&D product or an official Paizo product, obviously like we can try and enhance the product by making something new and innovative, but at the end of the day, like the shape of the thing is already sort of predefined. So, you know, it is going to be more or less what it is. But I think with FPF, with Ember, and also I guess with Crucible, although that's a little bit more of like a side project still, but there's a few projects that let us kind of try things that are a little bit more experimental, which I think is really important, because otherwise it's easy for us to get just like stuck in the inescapable gravity well of our like GitHub backlog with its like 1,000 open issues.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Ember is a kind of project when we can experiment things a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always enthralled by what we are showing as a team to FPF. I can't wait.
Matt, over to you. Give an introduction and an FPF memory if you have one.
Sure, my name is Matt. I work on the D&D 5e premium content and also on our publisher relationships, onboarding people, making so that they can get content out to you all as well, and then also working on videos that we put together for the anniversary, which we didn't do this year, but we've done a couple previously, and then for our advertisements and how-to videos and some stuff like that. And then in terms of Free Project Friday memories, I think everybody's done one that has mostly gotten into core, but one, I guess other than that, one that didn't make it into core that I thought was very cool, because I always find all of Ludovic's stuff very cool, is he did a mini map that showed you the scene that you're on, mini map version up at the top, so you can see the entire thing beyond just where you're currently zoomed in on. And I was immediately thinking of like 50 different weird ways that could be used for adventures or for different types of games. And I am just always blown away because Ludovic shows up with like 5 hours and has done something that I didn't think was physically possible, because I didn't think you could have a second canvas. I didn't think that you could have any of this stuff. And it's always like very mind-bending, anything that happens with the canvas. And I don't know if it counts as a Free Project Friday, but I think we also were shown Ember as at the end of a Free Project Friday.
Maybe,
or something.
Very
So I
early
kind of
days.
count that as
Yeah.
that one's maybe a little unfair. I think it was a little more than just that Friday.
A little more than a
of
day,
work,
but yeah.
But,
I think this was when I was like, actually, we might have done a few different Ember ones, but I think in particular, like when we were doing like, when I was first making like the quest flowchart and like the event engine and the like the event states, and it's come a long way since then. But I think like that initial prototype of like the kind of narrative event tree, and its structure, like that was pretty early on. But yeah, I think that did come through an FPF.
Oh, and another FPF also that was consequent and marked me. It is from Richard when he does the code editor into the macro.
Yeah,
Code
Code
Mirror.
Mirror. Oh my gosh, that's another one. Like, couldn't live without it now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Just immediately put it in core.
yeah.
Awesome. Let's see, Matt. Did you have? We took your comment and ran with it, but was there something else you were gonna?
oh, that was it.
Okay, fantastic. Next up is Dan.
Hello, I am Dan /Nork / that dude with the squirrel avatar and Discord. And yeah, FPF has been a lot of fun. I kind of share some of the plight of Anathema and Matt of I am on the playground with the giants, and they're very kind giants, but it's very much the truth. There are some pretty fascinating lines. I learned early on that when they say a particular phrase, to be very scared. Also, timing is important. Make sure to go not after Ludovic or Andrew, especially, or Kim. Like, yeah, there's some bangers there. I'm sure Shark will get me at some point in time too. But yeah, that's before them is important. And the danger phrases. So Ludovic says, I didn't have any time, so I just whipped something up with a shader. That minds are going to be blown. That is like, oh, I just did this black magic wizardry thing in 20 seconds, and here you go, token transformations. I think that was literally what happened before token transformations. And similarly, Andrew rolled in really frazzled one day and was like, I really haven't much time to do anything. And they threw together this perfectly working, like, pirate ship with billowing sails and moving water and, like, lines all over the place. I was like, what are you even talking about? So yeah, that's what I've learned over the time. But it's really fun to be run over by these things, and I greatly enjoy it. It's good times, and it's fun to play around myself too. So yeah,
We'll have to watch out for our trouble signals and
yeah.
avoid underselling. I guess the work that we've
with
done.
him, it's like, oh, I just did this little thing with the D&D 5e sheet, or I made a couple of changes. Vehicle sheets, okay, all right.
Well, you know, humility, modesty is a
mount
virtue,
points.
but you know, I share your thoughts about the devs on the team. Honestly, all of the devs on the team, but in particular, Ludovic as well. I think, you know, one of the interesting things is, like, it is often taken as a given, like, what Foundry does or can do, but there's so much possibility that just, like, it's like you're walking through a dungeon and Ludovic knows all of the secret walls or all of the illusory walls, and so it's like, where you think you can't go, we just go straight through there. Oh, you thought you were limited in this way, but actually, yeah, I think it's really cool. Not every project, but the ones that kind of, like, dispense with a Foundry preconception are especially fun ones. Shark, over to you.
Let's push to talk work here. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Richard. Also Shark that walks like a man. I've had that since I was a kid. I think I was just signing up for some, like, website and tried 5 different names before I just fit it half a sentence. So, but
I was wondering about the history there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
Definitely.
people don't reveal the secrets behind
origin
their
story.
handles that
If I
they
had a-
created when they were 13, because that's really
yeah,
embarrassing. But yours is totally fine.
right. Yeah, if I had a more interesting one, I'd probably be shy about sharing it. More interesting story. But yeah, I haven't seen too many Free Project Fridays. I'm still the newest developer. I'm with the core bunch, and came in, I guess, the second half of V13 development. So while I wasn't part of the planning, I did get to insert something out of a FPF day with the code mirror integration. So that was neat. Ludovic once made stink clouds with a pixie particle generator, and I wanted it immediately for the Pathfinder 2nd edition system, which I also work on. I've been needing for a while some way to represent the sense of smell, and Ludovic made a compelling smell-o-vision. That would be amazing to add. I do recall from before I was working for Foundry, the white squares, still waiting for them. And maybe V14. But I am excited also that that feature made it in. My
Yeah.
players suddenly, immediate win with my inattentive players.
Yeah.
The turn markers. Yeah.
Well, thank you all for the intro. Hopefully, it's great for our community out there to connect names and faces and backstories and whatnot. I think before we jump into the round of project demos that we do have today, I'll give a quick overview of context on our anniversary celebration. So it is a festive period for us. We are nearing the end of it, however. Anniversary celebration ends tomorrow. So if you've been waiting or on the fence to pick up Foundry or to get some awesome premium content for Foundry, you have just over 24 hours left to do it. The sale ends at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, so in 29 and a half hours from now. We have done and are continuing to do a bunch of exciting stuff during this week, so if you missed out on any of it, it's a great chance to get caught up. We've got the sales ongoing, as I mentioned, both on our site with licenses as well as on the new official marketplace. We have the Patreon feature vote ongoing with some great discussion in Discord and lots of people joining the Patreon vote. That still runs on for another couple days, so it's not over yet. Time for a late surge by a feature, perhaps. We'll see what we end up prioritizing out of that. I did a V13 kind of dev overview live stream last Friday. I don't know if that's up on YouTube yet or not, but it will be soon. If it's not, I'm sure. Similarly, Vivian was a guest of honor at a PaizoCon live stream on Saturday, talking about new developments in the Pathfinder system, premium content, Claws of the Tyrant, which is released and out. Myth and Magic Token Pack, which is released and out now. Claws of the Tyrant, which is releasing in June and available for pre-order now. And so both of those products are really exciting. Definitely urge you all to check them out. In fact, they are both on sale right now, even Claws as a pre-order. So it's the cheapest it will be, I suppose, right now. So if you're excited about Claws of the Tyrant, get it on pre-order while it is on sale. Then on Sunday, Cora hosted a lovely, chill cartography and lore chat about Ember and Ordain. And the Bloodwoods and the setting and all sorts of things like that. We posted our year in review article on Monday, which, oh my gosh, it was a beast. Shane and I were working on that for like days and sort of like up to the minute of publication on Monday. We packed so much thought and wording and perspectives from the team and interesting statistics about Foundry's usage. We packed so much into this. If you are interested in everything that Foundry has going on, definitely it will take a little bit of time to read through it because of how much we put in here, but
and we still had to cut stuff.
We cut things too. So it's definitely worth a read though if you are interested in everything we have going on. And then on Tuesday of this week, we had our very entertaining Let's Die stream. I did finally, as the Dungeon Master, succeed in exterminating the interlopers in the Tomb of Annihilation. So it took me several hours to get there, but I did eventually bring the pain. Again, I don't know if the video is up on YouTube yet, but it will be soon, if not, and you can also see the rebroadcast here on Twitch. We had an awesome AMA or AUA on Reddit on Wednesday, so lots of participation from the team, great questions from the community, a lot of insights. If you're curious about our perspectives on hot topic issues, find the AUA thread and give it a read through. There's lots of great detail there. And then here we are on Friday. This is Free Project Friday Live. And then the final piece of our anniversary week is going to be tomorrow. I will be back on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So about at this time tomorrow, a little after this time tomorrow, I will be back on Twitch with a stream deep diving into Ember and all the things we've been up to since whenever we did the last Ember stream. And there's a lot of new stuff. So yeah, definitely if you are interested in Ember or if you are interested in Crucible, teaser, spoiler, hint, hint, you may want to check out the stream tomorrow. Okay, that advertisement out of the way. Let's get to our demos. I think the first person up, let me pull up the list, is going to be Matt. You have drawn either the short straw or the best straw, depending on how you look at it. And so you get to kick us off with whatever it is you've been toiling away at.
As Dan mentioned, I think I definitely drew the best straw. I wanted to avoid going after anybody else. So here, let me do a quick screen share. This screen and go live, and hopefully that's visible to everybody.
Yes, I'll switch over on my end to be like a full size. There you go. Oh,
Okay,
the forest
so
cabin. How I love this being the test scene that is used for everything. It's God, I hate this map.
Here,
I hate this map so much.
Because it's actually not even necessary for the demo.
I think you just do it to torment me, Matt. You don't even need the forest cabin. You're just like, I'm gonna get Andrew with this. I know how he feels.
I did.
Famous scene.
I do know that you didn't like it. So one of the things I was doing was I did two things today. I have wanted to add toolclips to the scene configuration window for a long time to kind of explain a little bit how different pieces of it work. And so to not drive you crazy, I did actually record the first one in a non-forest cabin scene. So this is my gift to you. I was going through and I just wanted to find any that I could quickly make WebMs of and get tossed in there. And so background color, I realized people may not necessarily know intuitively what that was going to change. Was it going to change some part of the background, or does it only change the area in the padding, or does it change the area beyond it? So I threw together a quick WebM that just auto plays. I forgot to set it to loop, so I've got to switch off and change back to it. But then it also gives a little text description of how it works. And then I also went to a couple other tabs and grabbed some miscellaneous little bits, like what the grid scale is, because I realized some people may not know what that will actually change in a scene when you're using it. And then also did something similar for, oh no, I didn't add the icon to it, I think. But I also made one for Fog of War, Unexplored, Explored Color, and a handful of these other fields. And then I was also going to go through for global illumination, darkness level, and stuff like that, and fill in a little bit more of these fields to show off how they work. But I realize now that I forgot to add the info buttons to these labels, so I can't show them right now.
Like Token Vision has one.
Oh yeah, Token Vision does have one. Good call, Kim. So this just shows enabling, disabling Token Vision, and gives a little note of like, disable this for theater of the mind scenes and stuff like that. So, because people often don't know what settings they need for, whether it's a tactical battle map or if it's a theater of the mind scene or something like that. And so the plan is to go through the rest of these fields and also include toolclips for anything that's not immediately obvious to hopefully clarify a little bit on how they work. And to Chaos is asking, who's the artist for this cabin? It's Andrew. But it is also his shame because it's a simple map.
I wouldn't be so churlish as to talk shit about someone else's battle map. No, I talk shit about it because it is my own work that could be much better, and it's just like it's become like de facto like a thing that is like used for everything. So anyways, yeah. No, that's really cool.
It's so simple. It has rooms, it has
it's everything you need,
doors,
right?
It has windows.
Well, to be
But,
honest, that is why I made it. I made it as like the kind of vanilla, like everything you need for testing a scene in a small map, and it serves its purpose for that. And as a consequence, we end up using it for a lot of things. And it's not that it's an awful map; it's just that I'm like sick to death of seeing it.
Well, here, I've got us switched over to the
Yeah.
Dreaming Grove now, so we can show off another nice map that you worked on that's a little bit more detailed. Now, this second demo is not fully implemented, which is why I quickly shifted gears to making some WebMs, because like, oh, that's at least something that I can show that's finished, that works. But the other thing that I wanted to work on is, since we've been doing a lot of premium content and providing updates for them, and some of them are adventures, it can be a little annoying when you have to re-import an adventure to have everything get overwritten when there may only be a few things that you want out of it. So I have a extremely ugly first draft of what some kind of selective import for an adventure might look like. So you can see that this adventure had actors, journals, scenes, items, and that kind of stuff in it. And you could go through and select only the pieces that you wanted, and could conceivably, this is definitely not built, and I don't actually know how it would work. I would shift it over to one of the code brain people to really figure out the finer details of it. But if you could identify the difference, any document that has changed since the last time it was built, you could have this kind of pre-checked, so that you can only import the relevant documents that were actually changed in an adventure. And if I press this, oh goodness, oh, something did happen. I thought nothing would happen. But it may just have died. So,
Yeah, you're gonna
oh,
get a
no.
really
Well,
funny
the
looking
macro bar's
Foundry
at the
now.
top.
Whenever you end up with a HTML, like a URL, like query string, like you need like macro bar at the top. Yeah, you'll need to just change your URL to like strip out all of that query string stuff. I've been meaning to change that for a long time, to have it like throw out get parameter like query strings, so this doesn't happen. But yeah, it's a funny one.
Well, oops. Well, now you can see that this is definitely not ready for prime time. And
Ship
that
it to
this is
prod.
most of what, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is mostly what comes out of me for Free Project Friday, is just a proof of concept that's really ugly and pretty bad. And then normally Kim or Cody used to take on the rest of it and get the rest of it working in a nice way.
It's interesting because like
that's my demo.
what defines like the groupings for a selective import is kind of an interesting, like obviously it needs a little bit of like UI UX to decide, like in your example, like what counts as like big bads or what counts as little bads. It's the kind of thing, like if we ended up having something like document tags, which is in our V14 feature poll, like that's the sort of thing that there could be like tags on the each piece of content in the adventure that would allow it to belong to like multiple categorized like content sets or something like that. And I mean, there's other ways to solve the problem as well, but it's the kind of thing, like as we have more features in the core software, there's so much overlap between ideas. It's like, oh, I could use that to do this. And anyways, not trying to ship too hard for document tags, but I was just thinking about like, oh, like how would we do a selective import? Would it be like based on, folders, or would it be like a separate categorization scheme, or is there some other way that it could be like, orthogonal to the foldering convention that's used?
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people who, oh right, I should actually get rid of these query strings. That's what's throwing
Yeah, sorry.
everything off that I was trying to get rid of. Oh, that's.
I've been
not
meaning
your
to
fault. I
file a bug
probably
report
shouldn't have
about
even
that
clicked the
for a
button.
long time, so someone can help me out and like we can remember to like ignore those so that the UI doesn't break.
But for anyone who has never actually built an adventure, there is a really nice UI for it, where when you drag things, or here, let me find something that actually has folders in it. When you have folders, it does show you that structure and everything. And so this was the thing that I was trying to copy, but I couldn't understand the handlebars template for it enough to try to steal it for myself for the selective import. But exactly what you're saying, of like, it'd be nice if you could like check this folder and grab just the things in that folder, or just check individual documents on here to be able to get it, or with document tags, linked NPCs, like big bats, all that kind of stuff. I could definitely see a lot of utility for that.
I think using folders is a good way to do it. This is something that we've been talking about since we did like Abomination Vaults like 3 years ago or something, because it's really obvious that it would be good to have. If you think about the hypothetical of somebody, you know, you run the first half of Abomination Vaults, and then there's a big update, and you want all the changes, but you don't really want to re-import the first 3 books of stuff that you've already killed all the monsters in those dungeon levels, and we've never had a perfect solution for that. I think Kim and Andrew worked on making it possible to import per document type, so you could only import the scenes or whatever. But you run into a problem where, because things are interlinked, like what happens if I import all the scenes, but I don't import the big bads, but the big bads token is placed on one of those scenes? Or I import all the journals, but I don't import the items that are linked in those journals. So I
Scenes
think,
in Fog of War too.
Yeah, so I think if I was, I think whenever we've talked about it in the past, I've always thought that the simplest way to do it would be based on folders, because you would still need buy-in from the content developer, but you know, we can do that because within our own team at least we can talk to each other. But you would need to design the adventure so that each folder, like if I use Abomination Vaults or Kingmaker as an example, maybe Kingmaker is a better example. I think it's about 10 chapters long, and each chapter is a folder that has all its documents in it. They interlink between the chapters to a limited degree, but like generally less. So if we knew this was a feature, we could intentionally not interlink between chapters. And that way each chapter would be like a self-contained unit that would have everything it needs. So it would, in that case, the UI would just be like import the entire thing or import specific chapters at a time. But then, you know, it gets really complicated because that fits the needs of that module, but maybe another module would work in a different way and would want it to be, you know, the way that you had it laid out, where it's with tags, or I don't know. It's one of those
sticky
things. There's a reason it's a Free Project Friday, and it's because we know we've wanted to do something like that, but it's really hard to find a good way to do it that doesn't cause issues for specific types of content down the line.
I think for like
100%.
you know, in sort of the limit, there's always going to be some case that isn't handled by like a shortcut. There's always going to be some situation where it's like, well, I need to fix this one scene. And so at some point, I think the obvious conclusion of that claim would be that it makes sense to have like an advanced UI that shows you, much like the exporter. Matt, I don't know if you can pull that up again, like when you're building an adventure, but like much like the exporter when you are building the adventure, like an advanced import where you can per individual document check like, I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. But and that kind of allows any sort of advanced solution to be solved. But then for the user that is not expertly familiar with the content, it's like, well, which ones do I check? Like, I don't know which scenes to mark. And so maybe to a certain extent, selective import is about like defining convenient aliases for like sets of content so that, you know, it's more intuitive than like needing to know exactly which actors to import. You just need to know, like, I want the enemies, or I want, you know, all of the ones in this particular chapter.
And maybe having defaults as well, like to use Kingmaker as an example again, the overworld map is the one that causes a lot of problems, because if your players are exploring or building things on it, you don't want that map to be reset. So right now we have a special exception coded into the module where it doesn't get overwritten unless you check a checkbox, but that's like custom code in that module. So if we could define like defaults in the adventure and say like, by default import all this, but then people can turn things off, we could maybe do away with that custom code.
I also think it's important to, I mean, maybe this is an assumption that we could relax, but I do think it's probably important to caveat that, like, I think this would maybe need to be labeled as something like selective re-import. Because
Yeah.
I think that like a key assumption that our content creators are currently able to make is that they're able to design their adventure with the assumption that the whole thing is present. And like if that were to change, then there's a lot of adventures out there that are not designed to be resilient to like missing half of their content. Now
this
some
only
probably
showed up
are,
on a
but we
re-import.
don't know for sure which adventures are like resilient to be only partially imported. And so like we kind of have the assumption that like when you import the adventure, you need to have the whole thing imported. But as far as updating or replacing part of it, like re-importing part of it, that I think could be more selective.
Yeah, and I think labeling it like an advanced feature or something, like, you know, having it so that it's clear that like you don't have to look at this, but if you want to, you get more control. But if you're not sure what it does, don't touch it.
I would probably
That
say
helps.
if different like chapters or different books of an adventure are designed to be able to be independently experienced, then probably it makes sense for those to be different adventure documents within the same compendium pack. And that's how you would have an experience where, you know, you could import just book 1, but not books 2 or 3, or vice versa. But at some point, like I think once we are talking about a single adventure doc, we do want the creators of that adventure to be able to assume that the entire set of content is present.
Yeah, there's lots of sticky points, which is one of the reasons why I was glad that it completely broke in this demo, because that'll let people know that this is not close to being ready.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. I'm glad that I went first.
It was
Awesome.
good.
Good stuff, Matt. Thank you. Let me
Toolclips are
switch
great.
this back to the other view here. All right, who is up next with the demo?
it's
Next
me.
up is Cora.
Yeah, let's see. So I've tricked everyone because I'm not actually presenting my own Free Project Friday today. I didn't have a very good idea, and I worked with a tiny bit on helping Nath with his, and then we cumulatively did not manifest anything. So I have been given the pleasure of presenting someone else's work today, which is good because it's Eber, who is not here right now, so I can say whatever I want. And he is far more talented than I am in basically all respects. So for the purposes of today's Free Project Friday, I'm German, and hallo, mein Freunden. I have some white squares. I've wrapped my activities in little white squares. So, Eber, if you're watching, I'm really sorry. I might butcher your project, but I'm doing my best. He worked on teleports. So I've made a scene that's showing off some of the stuff he did with teleports, and I thought I'd start by showing how teleports normally work. I have the Cleric of Milani here to help me out, which is a token from shameless plug from latest module, Myth and Magic Token Pack, which released last week. And she's here to show me what a normal teleport does. So if you've not used scene regions before, basically these two regions are linked together. And if you move into one with a token, you will be moved to the other. So if I move with the arrow keys, yeah, they are linked. So they teleport me A to B. And this is default behavior. This is in. You can use this in V13. This is how it already works. Another thing that you can do with them is if you have a scene region that is multiple different shapes, you can tell it to put you in a random spot. So this is 2 regions, and the middle one will teleport me to the second one. And this is one region that's made up of several disconnected pieces, and it just decides randomly where to put me, which is, you know, pretty useful. Like, you can imagine some cool dungeon designs and things like that for this. You could have your party enter a teleporter and they all get split up across the dungeon floor. But again, you know, this is how it currently works. You can have one destination. What Eber did is made it so that you can have multiple destinations. So I have here 3 destinations, which I've labeled with the creative names 1, 2, and, you know, hold on for a sec, 3. I know, it's crazy. So these are different regions. Oh, am I going to keep getting... There we go. These are different regions, and I am able to be teleported to them at random. So this might at first seem like, oh, well, what's the difference? I could have 4 different regions that teleported me each to a different configuration of, like, you could make like a Pokemon Team Rocket hideout base puzzle with the teleporters with this sort of thing.
God, nightmare.
And you know, it's great. But maybe more exciting is Eber had the foresight to make it so there's an option to choose your destination. So if I move over this one, it asks me which one I want to use. It's been rightfully pointed out by chat that these are destinations 1, 2, and 3. So if I go to 3, I end up over here. And if I go to 1, I end up here. So I think this is really cool. I mean, you can have a teleport hub. Remember, teleports can go between scenes. So you can have a teleport hub, and it'll ask your players, you know, what locations you want to go to. The names are just the names of the regions, so they could have more descriptive or interesting names if you wanted. I think this is pretty cool. There's also an option that I don't really have a way to show you very easily. So you can see here the 3 destinations, and it's revealed. So I believe what this does is, if you're a player, it tells you the names of the destinations, so you can choose to make it like a mystery. Like, your players don't know where they're gonna end up, for example. So, because Eber's quite big on that, he likes the idea of not revealing too much information, like if GMs want to keep some things secret, that sort of thing. So just by itself, I think this is really, really cool. But there is another one. He added something else as well. I think this is new. Someone correct me if this isn't new, but I believe this is part of it. It's the option to have a snap setting here.
When I read the commit history, he had a commit saying he added the snap option, so I assume it's new.
So I think the tooltip, there's like a word missing, but I believe what it does, and, you know, I say I believe, I know what it does, is it snaps the viewport, so the user is pulled to the location. So if I enter this teleporter blind, I'm on a dungeon, you know, floor, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what's in front of me, and I stumble through a teleporter, and my character is seamlessly brought to the other location. My viewport's dragged over there, and I'm now here. I'm at Snap B instead. And if I re-enter Snap B, this one, I made it, Snap B doesn't take me back to Snap A, or A and B. It takes me to Snap C, so I end up here. And then C takes me back to A. So, you know, that's useful. It's small, like, little improvements to how teleporting works. Makes it a bit more user-friendly, bit more power for GMs if they want. The multiple options one is definitely the really big one, but I think it's all it's a wunderbar demo. So you know, thank you Eber, and thank you for letting me demo it, so I don't have nothing to show today. And I think that's everything. That's the little demo scene I made.
Very well done, Vivian. Capably handled in Eber's absence.
Thank you.
One thing that I guess is cool to remind people of and mention is that these can be cross-scene as well.
Yes.
So this is a single test scene, just teleporting within the scene, but you can also support cross-scene teleports as well. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is neat stuff. I think this is gonna like be really useful for certain things where like a single point-to-point teleport isn't the only option that is needed. I mean, Nath, we're working on the House Divided update, right? And wherever there's a stairwell that's like a central stair, right? You know, it's not, you could maybe skip a level. You could go straight up to the attic or straight down to the, you know, basement or something. Yeah, there's so many applications for this. Elevators called out in chat. Anything where you're traveling across potentially multiple levels of the scene. Yeah, really cool stuff.
All right.
Thank you very much, Vivian, for demoing that on Eber's behalf, and thanks, of course, to Eber for developing this new feature.
Also, a special thank you for demoing that on my behalf too. I had very excitedly agreed to demo for Eber wholeheartedly. I was very excited about the teleport stuff that he was doing, and I got so caught up in my own project, I completely forgot about it. So, him and Vivian, I appreciate the assist.
Yeah, it worked out well because I didn't have anything anyway.
I'm gonna try and slip into the roster here at some point. I'm gonna show off the world crashing map from the last FPF as a fallback.
Nice.
Well, you can let me know when you've got that prepped. We can kind of sneak you in somewhere. Kim, you are next up though, so you can go ahead and take the reins.
All right. Got to share my screen for this as well.
Oh, I see Ember. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it's not related to Ember, but it's a nice little backdrop. One of the vistas. I was actually looking through the list of vistas, and I was going to use the one that you had at the start of the stream, but I thought maybe it was spoilers, so I picked this one in the end.
I think everything's a little bit of a spoiler, but you know, we got to show off the cool artwork we have at some point.
It is very cool. Yeah, super cool. All right, so for this one, it was tough. Free Project Friday was tough. I have like a whole page of ideas. But the problem is that everyone's done like a module for them already. There's like a module that already exists that does all of these ideas that I had. And so I don't know. It felt a bit weird to just demo something that, oh, that's cool. I've been using that for like 3 years now already. So I went back to one of my earlier Free Project Fridays. I think we streamed it, in fact. And I spent a lot of time. I sunk a lot of time into getting it all implemented correctly. A lot of my Free Project Fridays I just hacked together so that, you know, it's like that meme with Homer Simpson where he's got all of the fat sort of tied up behind him and he's looking really slim. So that's what my Free Project Fridays normally look like. But this time I spent a lot of time actually trying to get it integrated correctly. And then when I went to sort of run through a small demo of it, I was done in about 30 seconds. So after all that hours that I put in, so I slapped in a couple of other bonuses as well that I did this.
A couple of other bonuses. That might be one of Dan's danger
couple
words.
Of hours today. It might be, yeah. I don't think so. You'll see. Anyway,
Slammed in. I'm scared.
So the motivation behind this is imagine that you're in Foundry for the first time. You're building your features out in D&D, and like Lucky is a good one, right? Lucky's a good example where you're looking in the book and it tells you that you get to use Lucky proficiency bonus times per day. And so how do you set that up in Foundry? it's probably not too much effort probably not too unintuitive to edit the item. I mean, this is debatable, of course. We have a lot of work to do for user friendliness, but you edit the item, you head to the details, and then you come to the limited uses. I think you can follow along fairly well at this point, and then when you get to, you can kind of understand what max is. Okay, I've got a maximum number of uses, and then you got to put in proficiency bonus. And that point, I think you hit a pretty significant dead end. If you're just a normal user that's coming to Foundry for the first time, you can probably understand how to navigate forms and things like that. You can probably understand a lot of that, but this is probably totally impenetrable. So what do you do? The answer is you go on the wiki, you go on the Discord. We've got lists of all of these properties. You maybe take a look at some of the Player's Handbook stuff that's already been implemented. Or I guess you don't bother with this at all because you just purchase all of your content, which is totally valid, by the way. This is I've spent some time reworking, essentially rewriting from the ground up the formula editor that I demoed before. So you can see we've got this little lambda to launch a formula editor. You can still type normally. If you're a power user, you can just fill this in as you normally would. But if you are less if you're less familiar with any of that syntax, you can open up the formula editor, which is just something like this, and you can just type proficiency bonus, right? And you can just hit enter, proficiency bonus times per long rest. Close it. It's got prof. Done. It's your formula editor. And you can there's like some more complicated ones. So like Dark One's Own Blessing, for example, is quite complicated. It's a minimum of 1. It's like your charisma modifier plus your warlock level, minimum of 1. So it's quite complicated. And you can open this up and edit it, and you've got the one sec. Got some demo issues. So you can open up and edit it. Oh god, it's all broken. So like maybe you want to add your charisma score instead. So you would add that instead. I realize I know what this bug is. Actually, I can undo this.
Flicker of
Or
sight
what's
happening
another
in the
good
background.
example? What's another good example is like the second wind, for example, which is your 1d10 plus your fighter level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so this I had this all working, and then it doesn't matter. You kind of get the idea. Like maybe you're calculating a formula like 8 plus proficiency bonus, plus your strength modifier, or your strength modifier, for example, would be a reasonable DC that you're putting in, and it will just fill in the formula for you. You don't have to worry about all of these paths to the various, the data paths. It just fills in everything for you there in the formula editor. And without the bug that I just introduced, it's pretty well integrated. It's got all the cursor stuff working. So it's got it's all. There's a few things that came together that we didn't have last time. So we didn't have the Peggy parser last time, which we do now, which makes things a lot better to integrate. We didn't have this concept of get human readable attribute labels, I think they're called, which we have now in the D&D system, which makes this a lot easier to do as well. So I can try to refresh with the bug gone maybe, but I don't know.
Kim, this is so cool.
That's
I'm wondering,
the
like,
font there,
what is the can you say a little bit about like the underlying technical implementation? Like what is actually happening in this window in terms of like the text composition? Like how is it interpreting, you know, as you type characters, how is it interpreting that into a prompted?
Okay. I rolled back the bug. We're good now. Yeah, so this is like, so imagine you change this and change its like proficiency bonus, and you can see that the formula is now properly updated. That's completely different. So the way it works is there's a couple of things. It's not a custom element at the moment, but through the exercise of doing this, I've kind of concluded that it probably should be a custom element. It's a small thing that just launches the formula editor, but this should be a custom element with a little text box. It launches the formula editor. This is like a mini prose mirror editor with a really cut down schema. It's got just one node, one mark in the schema basically, which records this sort of stuff. So this is all prose mirror. All of these things that change the text like this are prose mirror transactions, all working behind the scenes, moving the cursor along, making sure that you have like a pretty smooth editing experience here. So you can see I've just changed it, and again it's updated it completely. You don't need to worry about any of that at all when you're working with this.
It's
That's
super
really cool.
cool, because it will be easier for the lambda user, standard user, to make formula.
Yeah. When I previous demoed this, I had like a lot more features, if I remember correctly. Like you could like add dice expressions, and then you could click them and change them to advantage or disadvantage. But I want to emphasize that this is sort of implemented almost entirely sort of like correctly, and no hacks and shortcuts. So I cut the scope way down to get it to the state, and it's still like still quite a lot of work. Another thing that you see that's like this autocomplete edit element, which is something that I also had to add and build.
It's a good example of how, like, sometimes to people's comments about Free Project Friday and how some of the demos are like so ridiculous sometimes. It's like it's sometimes possible to kind of like fire an exploratory rocket ship up into orbit, and it's like, how did you accomplish so much, only to realize that, you know, there's nothing other than that. There's no way to land it or to do anything. It's like, I made it do one thing and it looks really cool, and you're imagining that this means there's a whole working system here, but really there is not. And so it really speaks to the fact that like the effort that, you know, Free Project Friday projects get us excited and inspired about building a core feature, but Free Project Friday projects never deliver a core feature on their own. We have to commit to saying like, yes, this prototype is so exciting. We do want to spend the additional days or even weeks required to like make it real. So you know, having the kind of underlying actual like effective implementation, complete implementation is like a huge leg up, and honestly is usually most of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really easy to, and I say this because I've done it many times in Free Project Friday, to just sort of demo a very, like, if you try to color outside the lines at all, it just doesn't work. It's just like, I had an idea for something, and here's how it would look, which is valuable because, you know, you get an idea of whether it's actually a good idea or not, but actually building the code can, especially in a generic way like this. So this is sort of like 50-50 core system. The system obviously has to tell the formula editor how to fill in these strings because they're system specific. So there's a bit of an API there that I worked on. So I had to build several elements: the formula editor, the prose mirror editor, the autocomplete, all of that's all done. And then there's some bonuses that I can show you, which maybe that's fun. I don't know. Let me just make sure that lucky is correct again. I'll use my So one bonus is these are some like, I guess, progressive enhancements on the hotbar. So got Gregorovich here with he's got Armor of Shadows that he can cast Mage Armor at will. So maybe he wants to be able to toggle that on and off easily. You can add it to favorites. That's one way to do it. Or if you prefer using the hotbar, don't like having your sheet up all the time, you can add it to the hotbar here, and then it will actually, when you activate it,
Nice.
you can see it's got like it shows you that it's active in the hotbar now. Like I've got an active effect on, and it will appropriately update. You can toggle it on and off from here. So nice little touch.
Yeah, that UI
just
for
a little
the active
progressive
toggle is
enhancement.
really satisfying.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Got some other ones, like maybe you want to remember your luck points, and again, you don't like using the favorites. So you can drag that here, and you can see it's got like tells you how many 2 out of 2. You can see right
Superb.
there. Exactly, and
You
it will.
snuck in a whole second one.
And it'll update correctly and everything when you use luck, so it's always up to date. So you can really sort of build out your own little HUD without having to have any modules or anything at all. Just some small little tweaks. Another one is like a longbow, so it shows you how much ammo it's got. Got 20 ammo, 20 arrows left with my longbow.
This is cheating.
Update.
We need it. Definitely.
This is awesome.
So earlier, Dan said something about like dangerous phrases. And one of them is when they're like, "Oh, and I did something small on the side, little extra, a little bonus."
Yeah, well, if you know the code, you know that this is not that hard to do.
Yeah, but it's like the code equivalent of like concept art. When you're designing like a level in a video game, you do concept art first, and then concept art can be really beautiful even if it's not a full level. I think this is pretty cool.
My JavaScript is more like crayon art.
Yeah. Well, like this is like some hooks and stuff. It's really not a lot to get to this stage. Whereas the formula editor, which is like a custom element, and then the autocomplete widget, and then the prose mirror editor, and prose mirror is good, but it's very low level. So doing anything in it can be quite a lot. It really doesn't hold your hand at all. So there's like a lot of integration with getting the prose mirror working. So that part took ages. And then as I showed you when I showed you the formula editor with Lucky, that was basically the entire demo done at that point. You can see everything. So I thought I had to do a little bit more because it took about 3 seconds to demo the formula editor that I spent hours and hours working on. There you go.
Well, these look awesome. This is all really, really cool stuff, Kim, and a lot of things that I'm seeing the future of the core software for a lot of these things. So yeah, awesome work.
Yeah, thanks.
Great demos all around.
Another small one. I really like the cursors. That was a Free Project Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, the cursors are originally Kim's FPF demo, which we leaned into and made canon in V13.
Well. Yeah, we streamed.
And then Tari on the Ember team did the cursor artwork for this one.
Yeah, they're really nice, really good. And with the app v2 sheets now, they fully have all of the correct cursors, which you were missing for a little bit in Ember, but now you don't. You have them all.
Do we have any custom cursors built in? We don't, do we? To the core software.
None that ship with Foundry.
Not yet. No. It's something we should at some point.
It'd be cool to get some.
Yeah, we should invest at some point into providing like a core cursor set. I do think that would be smart.
Yeah, like a sci-fi and a fantasy set. Just by default.
That would be really fun because I think it adds a lot. It looks really cool.
Just want clones
They
of the
are.
ones from Diablo 2.
Yeah.
They're
Coming
really-
from
Tari did a great
Free
job.
Project Friday, we have the ping. The pings also.
Pings.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of-
My formula editor I also demoed previous free project.
We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and ship a white square for cursors and for
Let me
combat
share.
tracker.
Perfect.
All right, well, amazing, Kim. Thank you so much for the demo. Really great one. Let's see what we've got next.
I can sneak in here between Kim and Ludovic.
Okay, interjection accepted.
Right, so I'm going to screen share this. Hopefully it doesn't crash while I do. So we mentioned the forest cabin map is my screen share working? I'm not sure it's working.
No, you are
No,
sharing.
you are sharing.
Uh-oh, Discord of Doom.
Discord of Doom.
Abort, abort.
Abort, abort.
Let me just try that again. Yeah, okay. Actual screen to share. Right. So we talked briefly about testing maps and, using Andrew's cabin scene for testing purposes on the dev team and whatnot. We actually have a history of doing a stress test map that started kind of around V10, inspired by one of our community moderators, generating a test scene that was intended basically to make the server software crash. It started out with Suffering Dungeon, which was 800 walls, 290 lights, and that caused a little struggle when running, but not bad. Then we moved to Suffering Cavern. I'll just scroll out just real quick so you can get an idea of what Suffering Dungeon looks like. Then we moved to Suffering Cavern, which had 38,000 walls and almost 39,300 lights. And in V10, the scene ran at 3 FPS and did not, in fact, operate at all if you tried to move a token. Accessing the walls layer was a guaranteed way to make the server die, at least the client side die. And it was just impenetrable. And I think around that time or shortly before that time, Ludovic had joined us, and I think he took it as a personal challenge because for V11, all of a sudden, Suffering Cavern was running at 30 FPS on the tokens layer, as long as you didn't move a token, and moving a token brought it down to like 10 FPS. And for V12, it was 30 FPS even when moving a token. And for V13, as you can tell, it runs just fine, operates as if you are running just any map whatsoever. No issues with performance, even when moving a token. It's fine. So if I recall, I got a message from Ludovic that just said something like, "You're going to have to get me a new test map because this is too easy now." For a Free Project Friday a while ago, I can't claim benefit for this today, but I named this scene Ozymandias, as in look upon my works and despair. This scene will take several seconds to load, so I'm going to vamp a little bit while it does. This scene contains 104,000 walls and 2,000 lights.
Oh no.
Which was the maximum that I could get the canvas to take before causing a browser crash for out of memory. It's it is designed with the help of a script from community moderator MXZF or Mixif. You'll notice I had to click wait twice so far for the browser to continue, because Chrome has decided that this is a non-responsive application at this point. This scene is designed to make your computer suffer. I don't know if it's coming through the mic, but I'm running a 3060 NVIDIA card with 64 gigs of RAM in my machine, and my fans spun up to maximum opening this scene. This absolute bedlam, as you can see, is actually running fairly well at a smooth 60 FPS, even maximally zoomed out. I don't know what Andrew and Ludovic did to canvas rendering in V13, but the bottleneck is no longer on GPU performance. It seems to be on hitting the limits of browser RAM. If I try and move a token...
Don't even attempt it, please. Oh, it's painful.
It is pure pain. There you go.
Oh, no.
Look how great it is. Behold. This is an example of what users should never do with their Foundry Virtual Tabletop.
Adding whole new definition to the rave alien.
I would zoom out and try and move a token, but it will crash the browser. When I have this scene loaded in the sidebar, launching the world takes 2.5 minutes. The JSON data for this world in and of itself is 43 megs of raw text characters. So yeah, this was my free project Friday, I believe, last FPF, just to see how far I could push the canvas to make it suffer and give Ludovic a new challenge for...
I don't like this at all. This is my least favorite demo.
It's like someone take apart your car and just, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to lay all the parts over there. Anyway.
Can this stop now, please?
I will stop torturing your baby.
Oh, that poor Foundry instance. Let it rest.
One more note, that 2.5 minutes of loading time on launching the world, that's on a local host, not remote.
Good job. Oh no. Well, thank you for sharing that, which does really speak to the incredible performance improvements that we've been packing into each version release, largely Ludovic's work, Eber's as well. I don't take too much credit for any improvement between V12 and V13. It's all them. All right, thank you very much. That brings us over to Ludovic. Hopefully you have something nicer to show than that torture chamber.
So, a funny story. I had a bit of a stress moment earlier. And for a while I thought, alright Ludo, there's no way you're doing a demo later today. There was one part of the development I hadn't seen coming, and it turned out to be more than just a quick just do it. But then came a moment of clarity, and I managed to get it all done during the day. Big phew. So let me share my screen.
Oh, Ludovic.
Oh no!
You've got me again.
The forest. Oh yeah, I
You've
got
got
you.
me again with the forest cabin.
Yeah, but in the night this time.
You're backporting my presentation of the forest cabin. Get your lumber.
So, you know, we have a framework to handle token transition. So actually, it is used to when you change the token texture, you have a fade happening between the two texture, and there is some option, API option you can use to have some swirl or some kind visual effects. And an idea is to use this technology. This is into Core, but for scenes this time. And let me just show you when we are switching a scene to another one. So I'm in the forest cabin, and we'll go to the Frozen Falls. Go.
Yes.
Let's go to
love
the
it.
remote prison
Oh,
cells.
yes. Oh, yes. This is going to be a crowd pleaser. I can sense it already.
Okay. But allez, let's make it. So yeah, this is just a macro I made quickly because I had no time to put this this option into the same configuration. But yeah, no, it's just to be easy to change. So let's apply a swirl, for example. And going to the gemstone mine, go.
Yeah.
Go to the Frozen Falls again. Yeah. Go to the remote prison. And so we can use all the texture transition. And of course, everything is working normally. So if I'm going to the forest cabin, I can, yeah, it's a normal scene. So this is, I try to make it seamless, in fact. So let's try other one. There is some that are funny. Water drop, for example. Yeah, this one is funny. It's Nomad Camp. Okay. So, allez. Go, let's test other one.
Oh,
Morph. Oh, it's nice, Morph, with a scene. Go to the black cabin.
Like how this is the one that Ludovic says is nice. The others weren't, but this one's nice. You know, I think what's very impressive, I mean, the whole thing's very impressive, Ludovic, but one thing that is kind of really extra impressive to me is that, of course, like, scenes are not just one texture. There's lots of textures. There's background, there's foreground, there's tiles, there's lights, there's everything. I can tell in these transitions that it is transitioning between, like, the actual, like, rendered scenes. It's not just, like, transitioning the background texture, which is, like, seems an order of magnitude harder. So I'm guessing you must be doing something like you make, like, a render texture, you, like, capture a frame or something, or...
Yeah.
Can you tell us your secrets?
The secrets, it's some challenge I hadn't anticipated. But yes, there is multiple challenge, in fact, that we need to store the render texture of a full scene.
Mm-hmm.
We need to store the first scene, and then we need to store the full texture of the second rendered scene. Once it is done, then we are doing an asynchronous animation with an await, so that we are sure we are staying for this animation. And we are doing the transition. the thing is that there is some challenge in the code. I had to displace the usual canvas stage and create a root container into the canvas stage so that I can have other container which are not bothered by when we do, for example, a canvas stage visible equal false.
Yeah.
It was not good for a texture transition, so I had to move a lot of things to rationalize how the stage is the root scene is rendered, and and to juggle with the renderer also, because we need to render things into texture and reuse this texture into the texture transition filter to apply everything. So here's the result, and it is working well. Cross hatch, for example. Let's go. We have a wind. Oh, it's funny wind.
You know, the one that you're absolutely going to have to do is the the jump to hyperspace, and then the jump jump back out of hyperspace.
All's weird. Oh no, it's the hyperspace. It is which one? The hologram.
Oh, of course he's already done it. Sort of. No. But I mean, like, you know, like the classic sort of like Star Wars.
The really hyperspace jump.
You jump to light speed, and then you're traveling at light speed, and then you jump back out at your new scene.
Yeah, it is possible. Yeah, but I need to create the filter here because I'm just reusing the one that we had. But there is someone which is funny. It's all, for example. All is funny. Let me show you. Yeah, this one is funny, and there is another version.
I like that one.
Which is also weird. It's funny.
Let's just quietly make that the new transition. Just drop it in. Release.
That'd be
Now we
pretty
just-
cool going into like a Pokemon fight or something.
Now we just need to get it to display the scene title in a slow, like, text type out in between the transitions.
That Earth Rocket one.
I'm opening the macro each time. No, I just want to launch it. Dot, it's cool. Dot is really cool.
That's fun.
So yeah, that's just my free project today.
Just.
This is very cool.
Came to you in a dream.
One of the things I'm excited about as like an indirect output of this FPF is one of the things I've wanted for a while is the ability to basically like screenshot an entire map with lighting and everything applied. And so like this method you've devised for getting the render texture of the entire scene is something that would then allow us to export that render texture for like a full map screenshot.
Yeah. So yeah, it is doing that under the hood, and we could expose API to take screenshot or what we want.
Sick.
So I'll push, of course, a PR for that.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ludovic, for that showstopper. Well done. Very well done. Let's see. Who is coming up next? Oh, it's me. Okay. So
Usually wondering if I should go, but we'll go ahead and I'll fall on my sword here.
Well, I think mine is pretty cool, but it's a little bit of a not exactly FPF. I was so busy this week with all of the anniversary events, I ended up not actually being able to do a genuine FPF project. So I'm just going to show what I have been working on this week instead of what I did for FPF. I've been working a lot this week on Crucible and Crucible support for Ember. And that includes a lot of things, but probably the shiniest thing that is worth showing is the character creation integration. So I'm actually showing this on my browser rather than via Discord screen share. So for the team, you might need to like watch the Twitch stream for this one. Although please don't feed the sound back on us. Anyways, so Crucible has a beta v13 release. There's a lot of things that aren't really right yet, so it's a work in progress. But the beta version of Crucible for v13, this is actually what I'm running right now. This is not a 5e world in Ember. This is a Crucible world running Ember. And one of the things that I can do in this Crucible world is character creation. So that's the focus of what we're going to be asking our alpha testers to help us test for the next couple weeks, is, drop in, try creating a character in Crucible, see how you feel about the experience, collecting feedback on that. And so what that process looks like is when we create an actor, Crucible has a hero type, which is sort of for protagonist or player characters. So I'll say like, create me. And when I create the actor, it automatically immediately steps into the character creation UI for Crucible. And this is also the sort of extended character creation UI for Ember. So it has a guided set of steps that walks you through creating your character, which is really great because nobody knows the rules of this system. So, you're sitting down at the table like, oh, my GM has asked me to play this, someone's wacky, Foundry system. I know nothing about it. What do I do? Well, you just sit down and you start making your character, and it's sort of an interactive process. So all of the Ember specific ancestries. Now, Crucible as a system is setting agnostic. And so you can kind of plug in, you can bring to the Crucible system, you can bring your own setting specific ancestries. That's what we've done here in Ember. Ember has 16 original wonderful ancestries that you can play. And so the first step of creation is to choose those. Obviously, it displays the relevant attributes for the choice that you're making as part of the first step. And you also get a talent. So one of the things I squeezed in yesterday was like talent tooltipping. So I can hover over the granted talent and see all of the details of what this thing gives me. Yes, so that's the first step would be, of course, choosing your ancestry, and then again, I won't take too long on Ember character creation, but I'll just kind of step through the process of making the selections that you would make when creating a character in Ember. So choose a culture. Now we get to the path step, and I'll choose my background path, assign initial ability scores. So I'll go for like a very even balance mix, threes across the board for this demo character. And of course, these are the Crucible character creation rules, so there are rules behind this, which you can read about in the rules material, but hopefully it's intuitive enough that you don't have to do a lot of reading to get started. Now, this is the step that I am most proud of. Is the next step after choosing your path and allocating your ability scores is to invest your starting talents in the talent tree. So Crucible is a classless, we have no class here, is a classless game system. And so every character can obtain every ability, theoretically. I mean, you face trade-offs, you have limited points, and traversal of the talent tree. Uh-oh, what's going on? Demo trouble. Huh. Oh, it was working so beautifully just earlier. What have I done?
Yeah.
Let's give it the old. I mean, I told you, alpha, live demo. Crucible is in alpha, Ember's in alpha. Things might go wrong. Let me try again and see.
Yeah.
It's not
my
a-
issue is I was fixing things up to
That's
the
so
wire,
fascinating.
and then my fixes broke everything.
It's interesting because I actually was not changing anything up to the wire, so. Oh, now it's working. Okay, Gremlin, I'll have to track down later why that might have happened, but it does seem to be working now, so we'll have to figure out what went wrong last time if I can reproduce it. Okay, so we get to the talent step, and here we are on the talent tree, and so this is, possibly like the biggest selling point of the Crucible system is the really cool talent tree, among other things, which I think are cool, but investing your starting talents is a part of the character creation process. So we have like our origin talents from our background, our path, our culture, and then we got some other talents that we got via creation. So maybe I want my Drakon to be like a two-handed sword wielder, so we'll pick up like heavy weapon training and maybe like cleave, so I can do like a big AoE attack. And then maybe I want some magic as well. I already have a little bit over here, so maybe we'll take like we'll take the rune of lightning, so I can be like a lightning casting, great sword wielding dragon guy. Sounds great. So that's what I would have starting off at level 1. And then, of course, for Ember, the last step of character creation, you get to do the very fun task of customizing your appearance, which is a big kind of flex of things that Ember does and Ember has. And so I'll just hit the random button a bunch of times until I get I'm pretty happy with this outcome, so I'll just go with that. And then when I complete character creation, I'm done. I have my created, I could have given it a different name, of course. I have my created character where I get now my regular character sheet as a level 1 character ready to play. Doesn't handle starting equipment yet. That's something that I'll need to figure out how to do better. It's still a to-do. But other than your starting equipment, you have a completely ready to play character that pops right out of the creator, and you're kind of able to guide yourself through the process of making that. And then, of course, as you continue leveling up, you will have more ability scores that you can invest. Like, we'll get a little stronger. Each time you level up, you get more talent points you can spend in the tree, so we can go back into the talent tree and, get something else. Oh, blood magic, edgelord. Yeah, that sounds good. And maybe arrow and something else. Like, I want to do some intimidation. So each time you level up, you're able to continue investing and developing your character as you build out the tree. Anyways, that's a quick overview of what this is not all things done this week. It's a lot of work over time, but this is what I've been very focused on this week that prevented me from otherwise having a free Project Friday to demo. So I hope y'all enjoyed a look at that, and hopefully it looks really fun and you're enticed to check it out. Tomorrow's stream, which is going to have a big focus on Ember in particular, I'll spend more time during the stream tomorrow going through like all of the ancestries and options and whatnot. They're all really cool, and the way that they're like automated, and yeah, there's really cool stuff about like the Crucible implementation of Ember's ancestry. So I'll spend more time tomorrow on the stream getting into that in detail. So if you want to see more, show up again tomorrow and there will be more. All right, that's my demo.
It's very slick, very
Super
polished.
cool.
Yeah, thank you. Next up is
Great
going
stuff.
to be Shark. You are the next in line.
Well, let's see if we can stream over Linux this time. Also not fair, by the way.
Well, it can be caveated that it was intentionally a cheat project,
Yeah.
not a 1-day effort, not a true Free Project Friday.
I mean,
yeah.
I cheated in a way too. I guess we all did. You cheated more impressively though. That's not fair. Okay. Let me remember how to stream.
I was getting ready to meet my maker. I totally forgotten that there was one more, but first. So.
Yeah, that looks good. Is
Great
there a
ribbon.
Discord deception?
We will find out. No, you're
I
looking.
think you're good.
You're looking good.
All right. So here's a gray screen. But it's not the focus of it. I am logged into D&D world. This is something that was added to Core. Oh, and I need to update.
That's
Something added to Core, but also it needs a little system support to integrate. But yeah. So I got my little fighting dwarf here. Very scary, actually. And I ported over a Pathfinder feature to Core. In the Pathfinder 2nd edition system, we have something called predicates, which is a way of conditionally doing things. And it's expressed in JSON, and it's basically propositional logic in JSON with prefix notation. So it's kind of Lispy, which means this deserves to have the lambda.
Oh, you want to use the lambda for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this dwarf has this, and pardon I haven't looked at D&D in a while, so pardon my lack of fluency. This dwarf has a feature called defense, and says while you're wearing light, medium, or heavy armor, you gain a +1 bonus to armor class. That sounds good. So currently, there's also a Foundry note, and that says this feature includes an active effect which provides the armor class bonus. Disable it when you are not wearing armor. So my pre-project Friday made this part unnecessary. Added a new field to active effects called condition, and I just picked a name for it. Condition's kind of an awkward name when you're in an RPG that has conditions. So you can see this is the JSON. Didn't really putting together a UI for it would have been a lot more ambitious, but I think that would eventually be necessary were this to be a bona fide feature. But it's basically so you got your OR operator and 3 operands, and these look like so you can see they're colon delimited. They resemble document tags. I think I should say though they are not document tags. But yeah, so or armor category light, medium, or heavy, and so this dwarf has an armor class of 17, 16 from the chainmail, and +1 from the defense feature for 17 total. Now I take off his armor, so he's just in his skivvies. Time to go to bed. He only has 12 AC, flat 10, and then 2 from dexterity. So
No need to disable that.
yeah, no need to disable that. Yeah, so that just automatically applies at the core level when it's going through all the applicable active effects, and now additionally checks for a condition, and if one's present, it'll run a list of you can call them statements. They're those colon delimited strings. They kind of look like tags, but the system, the part where the system comes in, is it needs to provide all the relevant tags that describe the state of this actor. So, and I only implemented it for armor for this demonstration. So at the D&D 5e level, it's now providing a list of, if it's wearing armor at all, some bits of that armor, like what its category is, what its base item is, and so on. So yeah, I prepared this ahead of time to make sure it work. But I'm feeling lucky. We can try doing one live.
Do it.
Kim cued me to other possibilities. So I have the player handbook module installed here. We get, it was barbarian or monk, right?
Yeah. They both have unarmored defense. Yep.
So now I have barbarian. Is that an orc? That's a jack.
I think he's a
Yeah,
Goliath, yeah.
Right. Big angry giant barbarian with a big axe. And so you said the D&D. Okay, yeah. So unarmored defense. While you aren't wearing any armor, your base armor class equals 10 plus your dexterity and constitution modifier. Still use a shield and gain this benefit. And I think currently, so give the barbarian some armor. Okay, so gave it a chain shirt. It's not equipped. And I think currently it just forces it in place still. Yeah. And
That's right. Yeah, you still use your unarmored.
so let me edit this. So here's the unarmored defense active effect. Pop all the way down here. And this will be a simpler one. So I would just say that this applies when the character is not wearing armor. And the way these conditions work is you have an array all the time, and every element of that array is a statement. And for the condition to pass, all statements in that array must be true. Sometimes you have compound statements though, like that or example. They can get arbitrarily hairy, and in fact in PF2E, I think our data crew, they've just gone to town and made something that's horrifying to look at. But in this case, we'll just use the not operator. In the system, I made it so if they're not wearing armor, or if they are wearing armor, it'll also include a statement of armor to describe the actor that it's, it has armor. Yeah, so that looks right.
That's right.
Okay, so
There you go.
yeah. And I guess I got better armor with the chain shirt.
That's right.
Strange. But when I take it off, back down to 14 and calculated with dexterity and constitution. Yeah, hooray, it worked.
Works
It's
really well.
really cool.
Very slick.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so you can kind of imagine what other statements would be relevant to describe any character, such as their race, class. If you have some feat that does something different depending on which class is taking it, you could do that, for example.
Does the system, like at the end of the day, does every kind of statement or piece of data that the system exposes for use in statements need to resolve to a Boolean, or do you have things where like you can test against a specific string or test against a specific number?
So there is limited kind of quasi predicates, as in like you kind of get the predicate half of first order logic, where you can have a subject and one or more predicates. And so, to the extent that it has it, I've added like you can do numeric comparisons. That might be the actual full extent of it. I'd have to go back and see. Yeah, there are situations where I kind of want to do full first order logic, so quantifiers over domains of discourse with predicates, so that you can like take a list of say traits or something, and or if it or if someone's holding multiple weapons, that you can say for all weapons that are wielded, for each weapon that is wielded, the weapon has property X, Y, and Z. So you can say if you're holding 2 daggers, and they're both magical, then you can do this, or you get this extra little perk. That would require predicates and quantifiers. Yeah, don't have that someday probably.
It's not in PF2 either.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it's interesting because it like there could, and I'm sure in Pathfinder there is like a very exhaustive set of like all of the things you might ever want to test against.
Yeah, Pathfinder's emphasis on what they call traits, which are just tags. Like almost everything is classifiable by its traits or tags. So a spell can have the divine trait, the fire trait, and that's some holy fire type thing. And then you can predicate it off that by saying whenever you're doing divine fire damage, you also like do an extra +5.
Like TTRPG writers, at the mere effort of a few pen strokes or keyboard clacks, can write like, you have a spell with this trait and it's a Tuesday and you ate something for breakfast. So I mean, obviously at some point automation ends, but like there is sort of like a superset of criteria that the system would need to kind of like decide to define as like an answerable question, right?
Yeah, the system, the burden of providing the state of the world, the full domain of discourse, is on the system. So if you bring regions into it, you can start including tags of this actor is standing in water.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Or we've gone pretty far. Whenever our data crew needs something and the information is not available, we see how feasible it is to add that in as part of.
I'm sorry, I'm dominating the questions here, but the thing I'm just like so interested in this because the thing I love about it is, well, among other things, but it's like one of the things that's so nice about it is it prompts users who might or might not be a game master to write JSON, which is sort of fundamentally a safe data input in that it's not going to be like evaluated code. It's up to the system about how to parse that and how to evaluate it. I mean, I face the exact same or very similar problem in Crucible. I'm trying to do so much automation there, and
Android Twitchception.
Well, that's Shark doing that. I'll
Shark Twitchception.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought, but it's the trade-off is like the Crucible way that I'm pursuing it. It's like I don't have to think about like what is the superset of questions that might need to be answered for the purpose of automation, but I do have to at some point rely on someone writing JavaScript, which is kind of inherently dangerous. So like I've been struggling with this trade-off about like where to do one, where to do the other. Welcome back, Shark.
Yeah, sorry. Twitch that exception over.
Anyways, I was just musing. I was musing on the attractive traits of this solution. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, and I mean, some users will see JSON and not know that it's not a programming language per se, that it's a data description language, and run away without getting talked down and reassured that you can only do so much with this. I promise. But ideally, even despite that, ideally, it'd be nice to have the way I envision a UI would be where you can pick an operator in the form of like and would be all of the following, and then you can start typing in lists, a list of strings or tags using something.
Yeah, for sure. Step 1 is the text box, and then step 2 is next Free Project Friday. I'll do a new formula editor.
I was gonna say there's a lot of overlap between Kim, your project, and Sharks in terms of like how the user can easily discover what the possible strings are.
That's right. Yeah. Factorio has quite a good UI for predicate logic when you're setting up. I forgot what they're called. Like, I forget. There's like a UI that you can do.
The actual video game has that. That's cool. I'll have to look at that.
Factorio.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll give me some ideas.
That's one of the really interesting friction points that you've found, and it was a really hard problem. So the whole getting those paths, and especially in combination, that's really exciting. As a D&D fan, I'm pretty happy.
One nice feature that we have in PF2E is whenever you roll make a check, a D20 roll or a damage roll, you can right-click that roll and inspect it, and it'll show you all the full list of statements that were used to determine every part of that roll. As you can imagine, like active effects with system data that will add to a certain damage rolls. And since we make targeting matter, we have it such that when describing usually the roller of or the maker of the roll, the actor associated that's rolling, that's self. And if they're targeting someone, that'll be prefixed with a target colon, and then you get their full list of. So you can say you're a paladin, and if you're attacking a devil, you do extra damage or something like that.
Pretty exciting. Yeah, we see that requested. Not that commonly, but it's been requested a few times, definitely. The D&D repo. That's sort of firstly being able to see a full breakdown of where all your bonuses are coming from, and then the paladin one in particular, we get that one.
I noticed the tooltips on the character sheet are very nice in D&D. So,
thank
you. That.
The tooltips, the locked tooltips, were also another Free Project Friday.
Free Project Friday.
Free Project Fridays, yeah. The ability to lock tooltips. That was a while ago.
But that's basically it. I'm sure if I shopped around more in the player's handbook compendium, I could find other ideal use cases for this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, this is great. We have conditional active effects on the roadmap for D&D, but whether they go into core first, we don't know. If I should caveat that we don't know if this is going to go into core, but we can because we actually have predicate logic in D&D 5e as well. It's just not used. It's used in the compendium browser only at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
We do have it. So.
That's all I got.
Well, thank you very much for the demo, Shark. That's very cool work. Last but certainly not least, we have a special presentation from Dan to wrap up our Free Project Friday for this installment. So, Dan, go ahead and take it away. I'll switch you over to your screen share, I suppose.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, this is an interesting one. People talked about cheating and maybe having a day or two or something like that extra on it. This is preposterously that to the extreme. This cryptic hexagon looking thing you see over here, I started working on in about 2019, off and on. And I think it is the third free Project Friday. It's just a weird little low-key hobby that I poke at every so often, and so with all that said, hopefully I'm not overselling it. But what this is we know that Foundry is really great at running board games, or running regular tabletop role-playing games. But the question is board games and what that would be like. And way back in the day, my gaming group, whenever we couldn't meet for D&D, like if the DM wasn't there, if we were missing too many people, we'd show up anyway and we'd play Settlers of Catan. That way the habit kept on going, and that when people, no other things started to creep in. So other life events, your spouses, families couldn't say, oh, you're not doing anything on Monday. We were always busy on Monday consistently, and so it worked. And so as a result of that, D&D and this particular board game, Settlers of Catan, got deeply entwined in my neural network. So when COVID-19 hit, I needed to play not only my TTRPGs online, but also, for some reason, Settlers of Catan. And so I built it in Foundry to do that. And I did that before there were really the tools to do that. I made some of them crudely with another dev, and then that kind of fell by the wayside, and then more people have come in. But anyway, without further ado, yes, this is totally not Settlers of Catan, though. This is a legally distinct and separate thing with fully streamable assets. Instead, it is the founders of Ember. And in this, we have different biomes and all that good stuff. If you look at the longest road, we have some of the artwork that might look a little bit familiar. Those of you who played Ember, these are some of the biomes, and probably the easiest way to show it is to actually reveal it. It randomly generates the map, which is that. That's sort of its party trick. I can just click that and it builds out a fully functional Catan board, and you can play a game on it, and it does work. I have actually spent a perplexing number of hours playing Settlers of Catan, vanilla Settlers of Catan, I might add, on Foundry VTT, off and on since, again, about 2019. Every so often I'll go on a kick and I'll do some work on it and update some things, and I'll get going. But it's been fun to give this a go. I've had a couple of times my FPF has been to bring it to the next major version of Foundry. And then recently I decided that I wanted to bring it over to the art assets of Ember. And now with this FPF, I have finally managed to kick out all of the art assets from the previous game, which originally were just crudely scanned, awful copyrighted images. And now every single thing in here is now either, well, default icons, or it is Kaora's own art, which is able to be used in this way, or it's directly screen capped from Ember itself. So it's pretty fun stuff. I've been doing mainly for this update more art stuff than I like, for sure, and that has been a bit perplexing to do that. I'm trying to do my character sheet. The art is just been, I've been in Photoshop most of the time doing all these things, which has been a little bit fun. I wanted to show the development cards in particular really shine in here. For instance, this is road building. Oh, I actually don't have that showing up to myself all that well. Try to get a good zoom here. Oh, there we go. So for road building, I have nice glorious artwork that is from vistas and concept stuff from inside there. This brave knight is now your soldier. You can enjoy this this feast. All of this has been created, and you can actually play. And the nice thing about that is that all these assets can be used as well. And this has been built originally, and this is shameful. I'll say various things that the developers amongst you are going to need to close your ears for. That when I first was making this, it was on an ancient hackneyed fork of D&D 5e. So that was not recommended. Recently, about a year ago, I moved on to a new foundation, the Metamorphic folks. They make great product for Foundry VTT. They made a complete card management with cards on the canvas, which is a thing that you can do now. So these over here aren't just purely decorative. You can actually have a cards layer, and you can drag and drop, and you can have actual cards on the canvas. It says that it goes to the discard pile, and it does. So there are actually little cards here, and if I check in the discard pile, I now have that brick, and if I clear it away, then it goes back where it comes from. I can do all sorts of interesting things with CCM, the complete card management, and the cards on the canvas, and I'm really excited about what I can do with that as a sort of next step. It will allow me to do things like to draw some cards, and let me get my own hand set up over here. I do have some victims in here as well for people who want to talk about that, but I can show my own hand. I can draw from any of the different decks. I have access to more of them because I'm, a GM, but everyone else would have fewer. But if I have the stone and I decide that I need to give this to Anathema for some sheep or something, I can just grab a hold of it. I can drop it into the player drop zone, and it goes directly into Anathema's hands. So Shane, if you check your hand there, which you should find in the card stacks.
Yep.
I probably should give instructions on how to find your hand, but you would have a thing. So you can roll for your turn with dice and ice. There's all sorts of Foundry modules that you can do. So all the normal things would generate. For those of you that know how to play Settlers of Catan, these game pieces, you can build your cities, drop them over, and all that other good stuff. So now, if that roll at 9 is rolled, I'd get a sheep, and I can draw for my sheep deck. Eventually, I'll get that working. That I can just click over there directly, as opposed to having to open up my hand and doing the draw. That does work. Go in, I get my roll, and it shows up in my hand. I can spend it to do things. If I drop it into the bank zone over there, then I spend it. So you can trade with other players. You can draw, you can roll, you can generate, you can do all sorts of silly things, and you can easily set up your game and reset it. And I've spent probably close to 100 hours playing Settlers of Catan in Foundry for some reason over the years, a few hours at a time. So it definitely works. Some of the games have been a bit more painful in terms of technical difficulty and me coding things to make it work than others, but it has definitely worked, and good times have been had, and it's sort of been a fun little passion project of mine. So I'm happy to kind of share it with the world and kind of get it out there as a thing that exists. So
You should
we
change
have things like I'll pause now for any questions or comments or the like, but that's the gist of it. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of showing my baby for the first time. This has been a sort of thing I had designed for myself, purely for my own idiosyncratic purposes. I never thought that this would be any sort of anything to be shared with anybody else, but it has been fun. It's been really cool, and part of getting all of the art out into different methods has been a stepping stone to potentially do something more with it. We had talked to, in passing, people at PAX Unplugged, and this is the sort of thing that could potentially happen if everything lines up right. And I am, in general, excited about the idea of playing board games on Foundry, that the basic building blocks, like these tiles, cards, especially with cards on the canvas, like down in this corner over here, I didn't really show this. This is a feature from the complete card management. that you can have the actual card numbers in your hand. I think that that's working. I had just updated to that. I do apologize if I'm calling attention to it. It doesn't actually work the way I have it installed just yet, but in theory, if I draw a grain, yep, the little one goes there. That's a new feature that we've added so that you can actually see how many cards are in people's hands. So if you roll a 7, you know whether or not you're screwed, for those of you that know Catan. Development cards have their own special area, so they're not counted in that, and they're not deleted when I clean up the canvas. It's just been slow and steady improvement, but the difference in visuals too, from what it was now and when it first started, is night and day. It was very crude. None of the tiles matched up in any way. They didn't snap together. The art was all different sizes and shapes because they'd been scanned crudely, and it was just a mess. But right now, it's a very satisfying visual experience, and I'm having a hard time going back to not that.
Yeah, we've seen a few iterations of this over Free Project Fridays, and this is definitely the best looking one so far.
Yeah, and every single last bit of art has been removed. So if I zoom in on my largest army and longest road down here, you have the nice longest road winding through the golden plains of Ember there, and an army full of burnished hands going through a biome I don't even know what it is, pulled by a Yarnak for largest army. It's just been really fun. One of the kind of interesting things about this is that there aren't actually any sheep in Ember, so that's kind of a lore problem. I had asked Cora about that. Now, in Ember, all things are possible. You can have asters that have elves and whatever, but I found out that actually in Ember, what you have instead is something called Vusk. So this is what a sheep is in Ember, apparently, the Vusk, and they are just adorable. Now, if you've played Catan, you know that it doesn't always end well for the sheep. So you build a road out of sheep, and you kind of have to ask questions about that happening. And I have deep misgivings about paving a road out of these adorable little creatures. This was made by Terry from the art team of Ember, and it's just adorable. So that's the thing. I will probably be running a game at some point in time for staff or the like. It's pretty much good to go. There's so much that I want to do with it to make it run better and faster. Like, I keep on wanting to click these bricks and actually have them go into my hand, and I almost had time to do that, but I didn't quite. So I want to have that. I want to make the configuration a little bit slicker so that everyone gets their assigned pieces, customized colors, like all sorts of things. But also you can do things like stat tracking, because those modules already exist for Foundry, because nerds roll dice and they like to track the numbers you get. So there's all sorts of weird Foundry modules that you can use to apply to your Settlers Catan that I'm looking forward to. I mean, Founders of Ember that you can use to look forward to all that other good stuff. But this is kind of my crazy little baby project. I enjoy it. It's my happy place. It's a board game that's a lot of fun and not very serious, and it just scratches a nice sweet spot for me. So that's kind of what I got. I don't even know where to begin, because I can't teach you how to play Catan on this game, and that's obviously out of scope. But this is my little thing.
Yeah, it's very impressive. It's a whole board game in Foundry, right?
Yeah, excellent stuff. What a great way to cap off the FEF demo. And I agree with what others said. It's been really cool to see your side project here kind of grow up over the years of, working on it on and off here and there. I really hope to see more board games on Foundry at some point in the future. It's just like all of the, like you mentioned, like all of the raw building blocks for it to be possible are there. It's just, I think it's something that board game publishers just don't consider VTTs as anything other than like, oh, that's for role-playing games. But it's for anything that you can play at a table. So I really think there should be more board games on Foundry, but like, who's going to do it? Who's going to make them? Someone has to be convinced to do it, and then, you know, subject to licensing limitations, of course. So it's like, how do we get there? But I do think there's a ton of uncapitalized, like, untaken opportunity for board games to exist digitally on our software.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that was really impressive to me in this whole endeavor is exactly how easy it was to update. Now, the Metamorphic team, like I said, I went from an old ancient D&D 5e fork to Universal Tabletop System, which is something that they just recently released in the past month, which is a bare bones system designed to work for board games. And it was great. So my system updated within, I don't know, 2 or 3 days of V13 stable release, and I had to do very little to actually make the jump over. And it was very nice, which allowed me to focus on slaving away in Photoshop, which I'm not good at all, as an understatement, to get all this configured. And it really does work very well. There's one thing that I'm kind of curious about. Someone mentioned in a support email, Zombicide. I'm not sure if you know that game, but there are tiles that you lie out to build an area that have zombies in it, and you explore it. And in the rules, the zombies make noise, you can certain ways, and you could actually have like a first-person Zombicide type thing rendered with the lighting engine and in a way that would work. There's just a lot of really good opportunities, and there's the connectivity. You can have the players come in, you can push around the tokens and the pieces, and all the building blocks are there. I would infinitely rather do this than some other three-dimensional, long-established thing that people sometimes use to try to play board games, and I just refuse. So, yeah. I'll share some more progress as that comes along, and hopefully it's something that takes off a little bit, because there's a real opportunity there. It's really fun. I've had a lot of actual fun playing this game on Foundry over the years, in addition to messing with it like you would with any hobby, that it's actually resulted in good gameplay. And this is in the very primordial state without anything really offering. So with official support and better things at it, it could be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So many games that would work.
Well, excellent showing, everybody. Great work, Dan. Great work, team. I'm not muted, am I?
Nope.
No, you're good.
Okay. Sorry, the Discord is like not showing me any buttons anymore. It's very upset with me. I hope my Discord doesn't crash, but I feel like it very well might. If you all out in Streamland are still hearing me, I think my Discord has decided to reboot itself. So let's see what happens when it does that. I'm still with you. I think everyone else is just waiting for Discord to give up on life and reconnect. All right. Come on, Discord. Yeah, everyone is... There it goes. Rip. Oh. Nope. Da. Well, I guess it's just me here until Discord finally gives up. I'm waiting for it to... I can't even kill it, so I'm just waiting for it to crash on its own, I guess. Until then, though, I think this is probably a good moment to go ahead and do our traditional giveaway whenever we do a stream. So those of you who stuck with us for the entirety of FPF, make sure you're logged into Twitch chat, and we can give you a chance to win a little something as thanks for joining our stream. I'm just trying to get things back to where they need to be with Discord, but oh, okay, there it goes. Let's try and reboot that. Sorry, friends. Okay, I am restoring it.
Hey,
Hello.
Hello.
I can hear you.
hello.
Yep, sorry, Discord gave up on life. It decided it had entirely too much. It froze, and then it wouldn't quit, and then it wouldn't reconnect. So I've been on stream the whole time though, so it's okay. It gave me a chance to talk smack about you all behind your backs.
At least the stream didn't straight up die. That would have been irritating for the VOD.
All right, cool. Well, I was just saying to everybody, as a good way to conclude the stream, you know, we can give thanks to everyone for spending their time with us with a traditional giveaway, as we sometimes do, as we often do. So I will go ahead and pull the names of the people who are in chat, and we'll set up a little table so that we can give away something fun.
You want me to grab those for you?
I'm on it. Thank you, though. In the meantime, yeah, what else should we talk about? I mean, I guess we can give another reminder that the anniversary sale is ongoing, and it's a great chance to get your hands on some wonderful premium content for Foundry, or an extra license key, or a license to give to a friend, or something else like that you know you can always have a use for. And that is going until 6 p.m. tomorrow, so just over 24 hours yet to go on the sale, both on our stuff as well as on the official marketplace. All right, let's see here. I've got my roll table ready to go. That's this one, Anniversary Week FPF stream. Of course, it needs a Foundry icon. All right, I've got 128 of you that were logged in, and so for the winners, we can do a choice between a menu of options. We'll make that menu be a Foundry VTT license key, some premium content, Demon Queen Awakens, House Divided, Pathfinder, beginner box, D&D, a D&D book of your choice. I guess, honestly, we could probably open it up. Not Ember. Ember, I'll save the giveaways for tomorrow, but other than Ember, a product that we make, you can kind of have a pick of those, and we'll connect with the winners, and we'll pick 2 winners to get something nice for themselves as a take-home prize for joining the stream. So channel your good vibes and your good luck, and we'll go ahead and give a spin on the Wheel of Destiny. First winner being Modron Gith. Sorry, it took me a minute to figure that one out. Modron Gith. Second winner being Lozanos. And Modron Gith. That's 2 winners. If you are here, please say something in chat to accept your prize. We'll connect with you via DM and figure out what piece of content you are excited to receive as a prize. So congratulations to the 2 of you. I saw something from Modron Gith already, so that looks promising, but let's see if we get a confirmation from Lozanos or whether we're going to have a reroll.
Just accidentally timed out a user while trying to copy paste a username, and now I need to figure out how to fix that.
Oh, sorry, the brown jumper. You didn't do anything wrong. We didn't mean to time you out. We cherish you. It was an accident.
Vice figured it out, it looks like.
All right, I think Lozanos is not here, so we're going to go ahead and draw another winner, who is Clayton Thompson, the one and only.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I know
friend
that guy.
Friend of the team. But not team member, not full-time team member, and therefore eligible. Therefore, an eligible winner. Clayton, congratulations.
Hey, my wife won once, and she didn't get to keep her free license.
She could have. She could have.
Be really good if Clay picks Tomb of Annihilation.
Right?
I think he's going to get that one for free, so don't pick Tomb of Annihilation. That one's on the house. For those of you watching, Clayton is working with us on the TOA official conversion.
And he's a beast.
But yes, okay. Well, congratulations to the winners, and yeah, we'll get in touch via DM and get those prizes out to you. So thank you all very much for watching the stream. I think this is where we will wrap up for today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of the fun projects and getting a chance to hang out with the Foundry team overall. And I hope to see some of you back tomorrow at around this time for the Ember dev stream, where I'm going to be talking a lot about Ember and everything our team's up to and how the project's going and answering your questions and all of that. And I will have some Ember alpha access to give away tomorrow, so if that's something you've been eyeing covetously, it's a chance to win tomorrow on the stream. So please join me then. I hope to see you there, and thanks very much to the whole team for joining this one to make our anniversary week FPF a really enjoyable one for the whole community. Anyone got parting words?
Thank you.
All right.
See you
Well,
around.
thank you all very much. We'll see you next time. Until then, happy gaming. Cheers. Farewell.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.